10 chapter challenge is happening. So I folded them all up into this container instead because it's hard to like stir the other ones up, and it's kind of hard to stir this one up too, but I don't know, I felt like it. So I'm gonna go into my first pull. I have no real idea about most of these stories, so they're just on my Kindle app. Deceived by L.A. Starks. Well, let's look up what you're on about. My bad, I couldn't read my own handwriting. That is L.A. Starkey. Very different author than L.A. Starks. And this is book 1 of the Soul Keeper series, so let's see what this says. They say a soul is the immaterial essence, the animating principle, the actuating cause of an individual life. But what if you had to share yours with one person you hated the most? The soulmate principle states that for every one soul there is another that will recognize its match, hence creating the perfect union. But what if you had 2 soulmates? Which would you choose? What if your choices had eternal ramifications? Deceived, the debut novel in the Soul Keeper series, is a modern-day love story about the implications of having more than one soulmate and having to choose between the 2 of them. The decisions of the gods have left the next generation, their heirs, torn between fate and reality, and the balance of the future hangs in anticipation of what's to come. Interesting. Alright. There is number 1. Let's pick our next one. Ooh, I had one jump out. That's the one I'm going to take. War of the Black Tower. Jack Connor. Okay, I like the cover of this one. So let's see what this one's about, because I have no idea. Sounds like an epic fantasy, though, if I'm being honest with myself. So when a dark power rises, only a doomed prince can stand against it. The War of the Black Tower, an epic fantasy, is a dark, well there you go, is a dark swashbuckling epic fantasy trilogy. Balaran is the youngest son of the king of, okay, there's war and legions and tearing down the works of men, and dark masses have awaited for their Lord's chosen one, who will be appointed by some dude of the next age of shadow. There's a lot of words I don't understand in this, which is why it's getting summarized. This is usually my issue with epic fantasy, so we'll see what happens in the actual book. So there's a womanizer and a rogue, a black sheep of the royal family, another one. One step for being kicked out of the castle, and there's chosen one stuff. Okay. This is just the beginning of the epic journey of action, romance, wonder, and discovery in the War of the Black Tower in epic fantasy. They'll know battle, hardship, the enmity of a terrible dragon, and all the terror of some dude before he can find out what it means to be the chosen one of this other dude and what it takes to throw off his dark destiny. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry if this is your book. I can barely speak regular words. I can barely pronounce people's names that I am halfway familiar with. So that's one of the things that I have issue with epic fantasy. But I am willing to give it a chapter because I can get past those things and make up my own words in my head for a reading enjoyment if I enjoy the world enough and it's well written enough. We will see. Let's pick number 3. I'm digging in there. That sounds really naughty. Right. Is this the one? Dirty Billionaire by Megan March. Alright, I can't remember if this is the one I chose last time or not, and then I didn't end up actually reading it. It is not the same book that I picked out last time, but it is an author that I picked out last time that I enjoyed the writing style of, and this is just an example by the book description in the back. I've got a big dick and an even bigger bank account. That's pretty much where my bio ends. Honestly, I don't need to say anything else. I've just told 99% of women I'm going home with me. Do I sound like an asshole to you? That's because I am, and guess what? It works for me just fine, or at least it did until I met her. Books talk about sparks flying. Fuck that shit. With her, it was like emergency flares mixed with jet fuel, or maybe just straight up napalm. Only one problem. She didn't leave her name or number when she disappeared from the hotel room after the hottest fucking night of my life. Now I've had a taste of unicorn pussy, the sweetest, rarest of all pussy, and I need it again. So what's an asshole to do? I took the problem to the street, a misconnection gone viral, and when I find her, I'm keeping her. Oh, I love when you can hear a character in a voice. I hated saying that out loud. But oh my god. Okay. I don't know. It's gonna be entertaining at least. So, alright. Let's go on to number 4. Let's pick They're already pretty stirred up. I don't need to stir them every time. Evershade by, I think that's Michelle Auderu. Let's see what this one is about. Well, I like this cover. How well do you know yourself? A 16-year-old Elle thinks she's got life in Shady Oaks under control until new boy Asher comes to town. Elle can't explain it, but she can't deny the connection she feels to him. Okay. Her life's spiraling out of control. Somebody else is in love with her. She learns she's a shapeshifter. She finds herself in the middle of an age-old war between shifters and hunters. Join the cause, break up, be with who, what's going on. Teenage drama. Okay, perfect. I can do with a dose of that. We'll see if I like it. Let's go on to number 5. Okay. The Bane by Kiri Taylor. See, this is not a problem in not knowing how to pronounce the names, but more in not knowing how to read my own handwriting. Haha, I did say it right. Kiri Taylor. I like that cover too. See, this is probably why I downloaded it for free. Let's see what this is about. Before the evolution, there was Torbane. Technology that infused human DNA with cybernetic matter. It had the ability to grow new organs and limbs to heal the world, until it evolved out of control and spread like the common cold. The machine took over, the souls vanished, and the Bane were born. I don't need to know anything else. I am interested in what the heck's gonna happen with this. There's some things with Eden, there's evolutions, there's brink of extinction, there's the infected. I see a mention of The Walking Dead and Terminator, a little bit of heart-twisting romance. Alright, you sold me. Okay. Yeah, I'm ready to read a chapter of that. Let's go on to this next one. I'm just gonna pick from the top because I've stirred it up too many times. Bell Witches. Odette Seabell? I think this is number 6 we're on. Alright, let's go look up what this is. I don't know how I got the name of this so wrong, but it's Witches Bell Book 1 by Odette Seabell. It might be the double bells, I'm not sure, but confused me when I was writing that down. Let's see what it's about. Ebony Bell is living just exactly the life she wants. She has her very own magical bookstore, a wardrobe full of fabulously glitzy clothes, and a sweet bowl just brimming with lollies. But when a 6-foot-tall annoyance by the name of Detective Nathan Wall walks through her shop door, her sweet life turns to ruin. As witch consultant for the local police department, Ebony has to work infuriatingly close with the man. And if that wasn't the worst thing that could happen, she slowly finds out that an ancient, thoroughly powerful entity might just be out to curse her. Very soon she finds herself ditching the ruby red heels, dashing across rooftops, breaking and entering, and stuffing whole bookstores into bags. Oh, possibly kissing annoying detectives. Okay, there's a little bit that I like about this, and there's a little bit I don't like about this. Mostly, it's the structure of the sentences, and the 6 foot tall being an actual 6 instead of spelled out. But I like the voice, and I like the promise of this lightheartedness, and so if I understand this going in, hopefully I can enjoy the first chapter of this book. So, let's pick number 7. Don't know why I gotta hum when I do that. Love Potions by Michelle M. Pillow. Well, I see a kilt and something in a hand and some smoky stuff. So I'm thinking a historical romance with some fantasy. That's something I haven't really read a whole lot of. Okay, let's see what's going on here. Love Potions, a Warlock's McGregor novel, contemporary Scottish magical romance. There we go. Book description just nailed all of that in one go for us, didn't they? Okay. A little magical mischief never hurt anyone. Eric McGregor, from a clan of ancient Scottish warlocks, isn't looking for love. After centuries, it's not even a consideration until he moves in next door to Lydia Barrett. Alright, okay. We'll see. I am usually resistant to Scottish historical romancy stuff because of a certain Outlander book that disappointed me quite a bit. But yeah, we'll take a look. Let's pick number 8, shall we? Warrior Magic, Lindsay Broker? Oh shit, that's actually a pretty cool cover. Warrior Mage. Chains of Honor. Let's see. It says, his mother was one of the most powerful wizards in the Nurian Empire, until she abandoned her people to become a notorious pirate. That choice doomed the family she left behind to a life of disgrace. Yanko White Fox doesn't remember his mother, but as the only gifted child in the family, he is expected to erase the mark she left on them all. With an affinity for earth magic and communicating with animals, he's not the most natural candidate to become a warrior mage, but it's the only sure route back to the great chief's good graces. He has resigned himself to training for that destiny, whether it matches his passions or not. Long before he's ready for his first battle, insurrection comes to a distant corner of the empire. Rebels take over the salt mines his family manages and slays the only relative who ever supported Yanko. On the heels of the tragedy, a courier brings a message from the great chief's son. Whether he's prepared or not, Yanko must undertake a quest, one that could save millions of lives, or fail utterly, leaving him dead, his family forgotten, and his people the victims of starvation and endless war. Okay. Sounds good. What do we, is this our last one? Or we have two more? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have two more. So number 9. Number 9. I've got Love Potion number 9 in my head. King of Lies, Whitney O. Let's see what you are. I'm gonna say you are a short romance erotica. Whitney G. I just want to show you guys again how that looks like an O and a G, because I'm ridiculous. It definitely looks like a romance cover. It says number 1, the man I fell in love with is a fucking liar. I don't have much time to reveal all the details, but I will say this. The woman disappears after wedding and woman flees before honeymoon headlines are lying. I'm not missing. I didn't run away after my wedding. I would never have run away right before our scheduled honeymoon. My husband has taken me. No, correction. He's kidnapped me because he claims that it's what's best. A mere pawn in his twisted game of chess, despite the fact that my heart is still tethered to his, or the fact that he's still the most gorgeous and beautiful man I've ever met in my life. He can still make me wet with a single sentence. I have to focus on getting away from him. I have to accept that he's no longer the man I fell in love with. He's the king of lies. Okay, so it sounds exactly like what I thought it was going to be. Alright, it sounds like a good voice. Maybe some cringy moments in this too, but I won't know until I read it. Let's take our last one here. The Wright Brother, K.A. Lindy? I don't know, you tell me. I can't, my handwriting. Y'all, my handwriting. Looks like another romance. I mean, makes sense. Okay, did I not press on the right thing here? Can we go back and go to the Wright Brother? There's abs. So this is what this is about. This is what this is about, really, Alisha? I dated his brother. He didn't remember, and I wish I could forget. I may have sworn off the Wright family a long time ago, but when I returned home, Jensen Wright crashed into my life with the confidence of a billionaire CEO and the sex appeal of a god. Even I couldn't resist our charged chemistry, or the way he fit into my life like a missing puzzle piece. Too bad he'd forgotten the one thing that could destroy us, because Jensen Wright doesn't share, not with anyone, and if his brother finds out, this could all go down in flames. When it was all said and done, was he the Wright brother? Oh my god, the cheesy end line, because it's W-R-I-G-H-T. Okay, I'm interested. Looks like there's going to be drama. I'm just hoping it's short. That makes sense. I like it when romances are short, because we just get through it, especially erotic ones. Okay, well those are my 10 books that I'm going to be reading the first chapter of, and I will take you guys along on that journey and take some notes and do some comparisons and let you know which book I decide on, which I will be reading, and if I'm going to be unhauling any of these before the end of it, which I do sometimes. Alright guys, I'll be back. Okay, so I've read the first 2 books on my 10 for the first chapter challenge. So the first one was Deceived by L.A. Starkey. It's the only way I could think to pronounce it. Anyways, it was 11 pages, and there was a typo in page 1, sentence 2, which does not bode well for me. There was a lot of eye stuff. Looking, gazing, meeting eyes, lifting eyebrows. It's just too much in too little of a space. A lot of it in general becomes telling, and it was just another red flag, warning sign. There was, however, nice images. Like, a lot of the sentences and a lot of the descriptions didn't use telling words. It dropped us right into imagery, no to-be verbs, and fluffy stuff. However, there is fluffy stuff. Wordy and repetitive things like I gave her a feeling something like you can just say what the feeling was instead of all the extra bullshit. And I started with a dream, which understanding the story and there being fates and dream workers and reincarnation and stuff like that, I understand the need for that, but it was, I don't know, too familiar, which is something that she used, a word she used quite often, but, and my last note, it is long. It's a long book, it's 400 something pages, semi-long chapters, and I don't think I'll make it through that because I was already ready to skim most of that chapter. So, book number 2, War of the Black Tower. I already know I was going to have issues, as I mentioned when I picked these, that it's epic fantasy, all of the names. Oh my god, all of the names. So many names I don't understand, which means I can't keep track of who does what and what does, and I can't keep the shit straight because the names go blank because there's nothing solid to hold on to with it. And this had a long chapter. 14 pages doesn't seem all that long until it's 2 pages per Kindle flip, so it's long for me. And a lot happened in one chapter that could have been drawn out, and other parts that could have been condensed or not told to us really at all. I did like the bit about him having fled, the main character, Bal, having fled from after a duel, which he won, and then sleeping with another man's wife and commenting about how he's gonna have to sharpen his dual blades again. Well, that is great backstory. Within the moment, conversation versus action. Like, I liked that part. There's a lot of smart stuff in this. A lot of the pacing of sentences and imagery is smart, but it was a lot all at once. There was a lot of exclamation points. A couple in a book is okay, but nearly 20 in a chapter is too much. If you have to use exclamation points that much, that means your language isn't strong enough. That means your internalization is not strong enough. It means your characterization isn't strong enough. So go back and fix it and get rid of the exclamation point. I liked the dialogue in general. There wasn't too much buried dialogue. There was a lot of saids. There wasn't a lot of other dialogue tags, although there were a few. But that was done pretty well. And there was vampires and zombies, and I liked that bit of it too. But it was a lot for one chapter, for a first chapter. I understand wanting to set it up. Hi, Kitty. But it just seemed like a lot that could have been balanced better. Okay. So that's 2, and apparently I'm done for the night. Okay, so I've read a few more of my first chapters in those 10 stories, another 4 of them, so I'm through 6, and I apologize for that. My cats are in heat. It's pretty constant. They're loud. They're annoying. I can't shut them up. Sorry. So, I read the first 2 chapters of Dirty Billionaire by Megan March, and it's a good voice, tight language. There was straight action, like right into the action. It was happening, first line, what we call into the pot already boiling. And then because of this, there was high tension, which made me keep reading to chapter 2. I almost didn't put it down. 14% through it with 2 chapters, and the chapters aren't particularly long, so probably going to come back to this. If this isn't my pick, I will still probably read it this month. It's short. I'm into it. Yeah, those are my notes on Dirty Billionaire by Megan March. Then I read the first chapter of Evershade, and this is by Michelle Arru. It's French. It's got the EAUX thing on it, and I know you don't pronounce the X. So, short chapters again, which I like. There's a decent style. There's good mystery. It is short-ish. I think it's going to be angsty. My only real problem with it is that it's a little bit repetitive. She mentioned something twice on one page and then again on another page, and it was just, I didn't need so much explanation. We can just hear the internals and not have the situation repeated to us several times. Because of the way that it repeated, I was a little bit confused in what time we were in, because it kept saying that her parents sent her away to her grandma or to her aunt's house, and then her dad was picking her up. I'm like, so is she going there now, and this is going to be the story of while she's there, or is she just coming back? And because of all that repetition, you couldn't tell until the very end when you finally realized, oh, she's back. So my only qualm, I definitely will give it another chapter at the very least. So yes. Then I read the first chapter of The Bane. This is by Kiri Taylor. Kiri Taylor? Very interesting setup. A very different genre, as I mentioned when I was pulling them. This is sci-fi dystopian, and it's like cybernetic zombies. That's the impression that I got straight off of this. There's a death in the first couple of pages, a gruesome one. Always love it when people die. Good style. I'm very interested in it. My only hang up with this one is dialogue tags, and that's not a very big hang up, so I'm definitely going to keep reading this. I was talking about it to my husband, and I'm like, dude, let me describe this to you. And he's like, that sounds awesome. I'm like, yeah, it does. I don't care if it's long. It's longer than most of the other ones because of, you know, sci-fi dystopian. Just like an epic fantasy is going to be longer. This is just part of the genre, like, You cannot come in here, Mowen. What is wrong with you? You not see that I am... Look at this. Look at the face of this Mao. She is horny and she can't stop screaming about it. Can ya? Where was I? Because I'm almost done. Got one more. And then I read all of these last night, obviously, until like 12 midnight, and I wasn't going to record at that point. Witch's Bell by Odette C. Bell. The main character's last name is Bell. I find this to be an issue. It's corny, I guess. Best way I can say it, which fits with the writing style. But I knew what type of book this was going into it, mostly. One long chapter, 35-page chapter is long. I'm not a fan of chapters that are longer than 10 pages in general, style-wise, because I just think that forces us to move at a decent pace and still allow for development. So, but I'm also a fan of short chapters, even in academic writing, and I know some teachers teach like 10 full lines or it's not a paragraph. No, you can have a paragraph in 3 sentences. If you do it right. I mean, I can, but I also write long sentences sometimes. So, anyways, long chapters. There's also this distant third, so we keep seeing the main character from outside of herself, and I don't like that. I don't like that. That's conducive to head hopping, and I don't like that. It's also a bit repetitive. There's some cliched sass with the main character and both main characters. Like, the dynamic between them doesn't seem real. It seems like it needs to be that way because that's the way it needs to be, rather than that's just the way it is. Does that make any sense? I don't know if that does. However, there is interesting world building. That's my other, this one. Mowen. Rhea. Oh. Where was I? Interesting world building. So, like, it's a witch. She works with the police. Like, we get the background and understand a lot of it without getting too nitty-gritty into it. Like, she does a really good job giving this information to us. Like, the world and the action in it work. The dialogue could use some fine-tuning. The character could also use some fine-tuning. But that just might be my style preference. There's also some really cool magic. And this idea of morphing her as a witch, she can... Depending on what she's doing, she can look like the most beautiful woman in the world. Or, as we see happen when she gets she loses her confidence, she actually physically shrinks, and the look of her face changes, having to do with her magic. Thought that was really cool. Interesting voice sometimes, but still the style is off. So, yeah. Those are the ones I read last night. Book number 7 was Love Potions by Michelle M. Pillow. There was good attraction straight off, nice style, nice tension. I am interested in the character development. There was plenty of that in the first chapter. It was a really long chapter. Also like 38 pages or so Kindle-wise, so probably half that in a physical book. But I liked the alternating point of view in the same chapter. I like it when a romance actually alternates rather than sticking to one, because it really depends on the story, I guess. Nice style. Like I said, long descriptions though. Hi, Bumpkin. You cannot just scour my desk. It's not how it happened. She doesn't want to sit up here with me. She wants to explore. Long descriptions is the only thing keeping me from being like, oh, this is the one I'm going to read. I don't like when people completely describe everything. Maybe that's because of my weakness as a writer and the fact that I don't world build quite as much as I probably should, but I don't need to see absolutely everything. You can give me a couple lines and I can figure that stuff out myself. I have a good imagination. I feel like most readers do. So the idea of being understanding that your readers are smart and not setting everything up for them, but that is a stylistic choice and a preference, and it's just not mine. So, but still, I'm interested in seeing what happens to it. Book number 8, Warrior Mage by Lindsay Baroker. Excellent character. Like, into the pot, already boiling. He's in the middle of a fight. We're in a test. Even though this was probably the longest chapter of all of them, it didn't feel like it. There was so much action just pushing me forward. I didn't even notice I'd gotten through the first section before it was over. Great style, great tension. I was so angry, as I should be. So, definite signs of a great writer. Do want to read this. Apparently this is a offshoot series from a previous series. Not that I have to read that series to understand it, but knowing that there's so much more in the world. I like series, so that always interests me. I don't really have any good style. It's just good style, good tension, lots of action, things that I like. I like it. Probably will read it. Okay, so book number 9, King of Lies by Whitney G. This is the kidnapping his own wife, and not just they're on their honeymoon and he's keeping her from everybody. No, she's trying to run away. There's a reward out for her. Into the pot already boiling. She's trying to run away, and then he wraps her up in a rug and duct tapes her mouth and brings her back home. It's like, what? I'm wondering what the fuck's going on. Obviously, 'cause I don't know why this is happening. So intriguing, short chapters, decent style, an prologue. I know why it's there. It's from the King of Lies, the man, the husband, I'm presuming. And it's very meta. It's like, I'm here to tell you I'm not your book boyfriend. I can figure that on my own. I don't really need you to set that up for me. It kind of ruins some shit when you set it up for me. So, I am curious though. Well, I'll give it at least another chapter or two. The style in general, I was okay with, other than that meta-ness at the beginning. Yeah. And the last book, The Wright Brothers by K.A. Lane. Again, into the pot already boiling. Cheating boyfriend. Catching him in the act. Page 2. Breakup. Leaving. Moving. Visiting sister. A lot of shit happening all at once. I'm okay with that. Which is why my note says hella drama. There's hella drama going on in this book, chapter 1. It is a little repetitive though. I think cookies was mentioned 4 times, and we can assume after the first time, if we know cookies are in the oven, that when the timer goes off, that the cookies come out of the oven. I don't need you to tell me that. And it's only because there wasn't any action in between. If there's action in between, yeah. Remind me that cookies are coming out of the oven. When you just told me cookies were in the oven and the timer went off, I don't need you to tell me the cookies came out. I just don't. I felt a kinship with this woman immediately when she said, fuck academia. Maybe that's just because I quit my job as a teacher. Not because of academia, but I've always had that idea of fuck academia. I went to school for 10 years. I taught for 8 years in a college. And academics sometimes really, really suck. A lot of the ones who get paid well suck. Not my bosses. My bosses were pretty awesome. Just saying. But there was others who bully people when they don't believe the same thing. Rating's very subjective, as you can tell, because I'm talking about this is not my style and shit like that. Anyways, that's not the point of this. She said fuck academia. I was with her. There's also decent style, other than the repetitiveness and some chuckling, which I don't like. Dialogue tags, as you guys know. I don't like chuckling, which is PTSD from my master's degree. I can't even explain. It's just no. So, good tension. There was a few cliches in there. A little, I don't know. It's a little too on point for some things that I've read before. That's all I'm saying. And short chapters, which I like. So, I'm interested. I feel like this is going to be kind of cheesy. I had that feeling when I saw the title and what it was about. So, cheesy romance has its place. Just putting it out there. So I did predict right after I read the first 2 chapters of Dirty Billionaire that that's the one I'm going to read this month because it's short, good tension, and I'm into it. So much so that I read the 2nd chapter. So I'm going to read that one, and I might fit another one in there this month. We'll see. I have a lot of books that I'm still supposed to read, and I haven't even gone through half of them yet. But that long farcier book kind of put a damper on my other rating, and just to show you guys how far I am in book 1. I didn't even start book 2 yet, which I was supposed to have done last week. Both of them done last week. It's not because I don't like the books and I don't like reading or that I'm super uber busy, which I mean I am. I'm always super busy. It's the mental one. Hard to find a job in general. COVID sucks. I have anxiety. So there you go. Those things are fucking with me. And I have a book that's coming out next month with a whole bunch of other people. It's not done yet. So, that in mind, I'm gonna go get shit done. And I chose Dirty Billionaire by Megan March. She has a good voice. She knows what she's doing. I'm excited to finish reading it. Let me know if you guys like this 10-chapter challenge thing. Thank you for watching. Tell me what you're reading. Do you have any suggestions? Tell me if you are a free book whore like I am, because I am certainly one of those. Hence the over 800 Kindle books that I have on my phone. Yeah, I'm thinking of making a series of doing this every month to try to get through them and eliminate the ones that I don't want to read, and then actually start reading some of the ones that I do want to read. Hopefully that's a good idea. Anyways, I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.